The views and opinions expressed today on Black Focus Radio are not the views and opinions of the station, its management, or its advertisers. Now, let's get ready to focus on our issues, our solutions, using our voices on Black Focus Radio.
Welcome to Black Focus, the show designed with our community in mind, where we focus on our issues, developing our solutions, using our voices. Central Arkansas, surrounding areas, and the nation. Get ready. Black Focus starts right now. Phone lines open at 855-525-5683. So here's your host, David W. Coleman.
Well, good Friday morning and welcome to Black Focus Radio, our issues, our solutions, our voices. 855-525-5683 is the number. That's how you get in touch with us. If you'd like to join the show, you can also hit us up on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. And send me an email at blackfocusradio@gmail.com. Don't forget to support our sponsors, riprub.com and skintentional.com. We got a great show lined up for you today. I'll tell you what, coming up a little bit in this hour, we're going to talk to a very dear friend of the show. That friend is Patrick Oliver. And of course, you know, Patrick always has some great things going on as it relates to literacy, and this is no different. Dr. Mahalia Hines, a former principal, school board member, and author of Tomorrow's Children, How to Raise Children to Be Human in a Tech Society, the mother of the Grammy Award-winning artist Common. She'll be here next weekend. Well, I shouldn't say here because I'm in the DMV, but she'll be in Little Rock, along with some other special guests. So you all need to check that out. But make sure you stay tuned. We're going to talk to Patrick Oliver here in a little bit about this very event that's going to take place in Little Rock. Also, later on in the show, you know, the old Trump. People are upset that people are calling him old now. So we got to talk politics. That'll cover most of the end of the I should say the second hour. Kevin Sorbo. You remember him? For, well, you know, if you watch TV, I guess that was in the 90s, mid-90s. He was the star of a series called Hercules. And I watched it. You know, at that time, wasn't much else on to watch if you watched TV during that time period. But, you know, he's an ultra right-wing Republican now. And for some reason, he wants Kamala Harris to say the N-word. And I don't know what that's all about. But we're going to talk about that as well. Also, we'll give you a review of the states who have the highest poverty rates. You know, I bet if I had a test right now, you could probably name 10 of them. You know, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. Trump, Elon Musk, another debacle. I've told you all about Elon Musk, okay? You all better start paying attention. Elon Musk is dangerous, all right? We're worried about Trump. Elon Musk is dangerous. And also, Coach Walsh against J.D. Vance and their military record. We'll probably get into that later on as well. And a lot of other stuff. You know, we talk a lot about democracy and how important it is in this election. And we'll get into that also today. So, as always, we got to start the show off with Black Facts. So, we'll do that right now.
Dynamic Black Facts. Our culture, our history, our people.
Slavery, a disgraceful chapter in human history, was abolished over a century ago. Yet, in ways both overt and subtle, the legacy of slavery continues to shape our world. In a twisted attempt to legitimize the barbaric treatment they inflicted upon black slaves, white supremacists and slaveholders spread harmful stereotypes and falsehoods about the nature of black people. These distortions were used to excuse their cruelty. The lingering effects of this systematic oppression continue to plague our society with racial injustice and inequality. That said, join us as we take a close look into the unknown facts about slavery that still manifest in our lives today. From the language we use to the stereotypes that persist, these remnants of the past are more influential than you might think. In the era of slavery, slave owners came up with various ways to humiliate their slaves, usually as a form of punishment or discipline. One of the most horrible forms of humiliation involved forcing enslaved men into sexual acts with their mothers or family members. This was done both as a form of psychological torture and to exert control and dominance over enslaved individuals. Enslaved men were sometimes forced to perform sexual acts in the presence of their families or white spectators, turning these acts into public spectacles of degradation. The term mother is thought to have originated from this context of sexual humiliation. But although the term is frequently believed to stem from the widely condemned incest taboo, some also argue that its origins point to white men that have impregnated black women at the time. The sexual abuse of enslaved women often resulted in pregnancies, with the children of these abuses being enslaved alongside their mothers. Rather than referring to the man who impregnated their mother as father, the term mother was said to be used. This usage aligns with similar grammatical structures found in other African American English expressions, such as baby mother and baby father. Despite the end of slavery, the term mother persisted in American English, especially within African American communities. Over time, the term has been adopted into mainstream language, often losing its specific historical connotations, but still carrying a strong sense of vulgarity and insult. Meanwhile, some argue that this origin is merely a theory that lacks concrete evidence. What do you think? Young men in America began adopting sagging pants as a fashion trend during the 1990s. Unlike many other passing fads, this particular style has endured for over 30 years. However, its origins are rooted in a dark and often overlooked history. The practice began during the era of black slavery and is linked to a horrific custom known as buck busting or buck breaking. Originally, these terms referred to the taming of wild horses, but Southern plantation owners repurposed them to describe their brutal treatment of black men. This barbaric practice was used to break rebellious black male slaves, reducing them to subhuman status, much like taming wild beasts. It was designed to intimidate and suppress any resistance among other enslaved people. Defiant black men were publicly humiliated by being made to lower their pants and bend forward in front of other slaves. Their masters would then subject them to horrific sexual violence. Following this brutal act, the victim was forced to wear his pants without a belt, allowing them to sag as a mark of his humiliation and submission, signifying that he had been busted or broken in. The practice of sagging pants also traces its origins to the American prison system. Much like in the antebellum era, it is linked to the sexual abuse of men by other men. In prisons, belts are prohibited because they can be used as weapons, which is why inmates often wear sagging pants. In some cases, men are coerced into letting their pants fall and bending over during assaults by fellow inmates. Today, sagging pants, a style often embraced as a mere fashion statement, has drifted far from its traumatic origins. Many who adopt this look remain unaware of its painful history, and despite various efforts over the years to discourage young men from adopting this style due to its troubling origins, these attempts have largely been unsuccessful. Historically, white women were depicted as embodiments of self-respect and control, while black women were portrayed as naturally promiscuous and even predatory, a characterization symbolized by the name Jezebel. Jezebel is derived from the biblical queen Jezebel, who is portrayed as a wicked and promiscuous woman. During slavery, this character was appropriated to describe black women as inherently sexual and promiscuous, a stereotype used to rationalize and justify the sexual exploitation and abuse of enslaved women by portraying them as desiring such treatment. During the slavery era, lighter-skinned black women were often forced into prostitution or became concubines under a system called plaçage, where they received financial support in exchange for their sexual services. This exploitation was partially fueled by European misinterpretations of African cultures and physical appearances, which were seen as evidence of uncontrolled sexual appetites. The Jezebel stereotype was also used to rationalize the sexual exploitation of black women by white men during slavery. The myth that black women had an insatiable sexual desire served to justify and obscure the frequent abuse of enslaved women. While some enslaved women might have been coerced into sexual relations with white men through force, the stereotype denied the reality of their exploitation. Slavery perpetuated the Jezebel stereotype by publicly exposing the bodies of enslaved women during sales and examinations, which reinforced racist notions of their sexual depravity. The forced reproduction of enslaved women was another way their sexuality was exploited and dehumanized, as their fertility was seen as a commodity to increase the slave population. Even after emancipation and throughout the Reconstruction period, black women continued to face sexual victimization. Despite the end of slavery, legal and social systems offered little protection against sexual abuse, and many black women were reluctant to report abuse due to fears of further violence or retribution. The portrayal of black women as Jezebels persisted into the 20th century, becoming a pervasive theme in popular culture. In cinema, particularly during the blaxploitation era of the 1970s, black women were often cast in sexually provocative roles that further entrenched the Jezebel image. This depiction continued into modern media, where black actresses are frequently typecast in sexually charged roles, often perpetuating racist stereotypes. The term welfare queen is not just a modern slur, but has roots tracing back to the era of slavery in the United States. During slavery, white slave owners often portrayed their enslaved individuals as lazy to justify the harsh conditions they faced. This negative image was used to rationalize the brutal treatment and systemic oppression of black people. The welfare queen stereotype emerged later as a way to demean and degrade black women who relied on government assistance. It portrayed these women as lazy and exploitative, suggesting they were abusing the welfare system for personal gain. This was a false and damaging narrative, as many black women were struggling under the weight of systemic racism and poverty. The stereotype gained attention in the 1970s with the case of Linda Taylor, who became widely known for her alleged involvement in welfare fraud. The media coverage of Linda Taylor was highly sensationalized. Headlines often focused on her alleged luxurious lifestyle and extravagant spending, despite the fact that she was a single mother living in poverty. They framed her as a welfare queen who exploited the welfare system. This portrayal was heavily racialized and sexualized, aligning with the existing Jezebel stereotype that black women were sexually immoral. The sensationalist media coverage depicted Taylor as a manipulative figure who used her sexuality to defraud the system, reinforcing the idea that black women on welfare were untrustworthy and hypersexual. Politicians and commentators leveraged Taylor's case to push for welfare reforms, arguing that the system was being abused by irresponsible and immoral individuals. They used her case to justify cuts to social programs and harsher eligibility requirements, framing her alleged fraudulent activities as representative of broader issues within welfare. This portrayal not only stigmatized black women, but also ignored the complex realities of welfare dependency and systemic issues affecting many recipients. The troubling times of slavery might be over, but the hurt it caused still lives on. To truly honor the memory of those who endured the horrors of slavery, we must actively learn and acknowledge the remnants of that oppressive era. By fostering empathy, education, and cultural sensitivity, we can contribute to a more just and equitable future for all. Together, we can make a world where everyone feels safe and valued. Now, we want to hear from you. What other surprising ways does slavery continue to shape our society? Share your thoughts and insights in the comments below. Let's continue the conversation and work towards a better understanding. Thank you for joining us in this journey. Subscribe to our channel to always be part of our insightful discussions. We'd love to see you again.
Keep listening to Black Focus Radio for more dynamic Black facts, our culture, our history, our people on joynetradio.com.
Hope you enjoyed that Black Fact. Of course, if you'd like to be a sponsor of Black Focus Radio and Black Facts, give me a call at 615-554-0568. We've got to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk to Patrick Oliver and see what's going on here in Little Rock. This is about a 25-minute interview, so we'll talk to him, and then, of course, we'll wrap up the end of the hour. And next hour, we're going to talk a little bit more about what's going on the political scene. And I got to get you up to the top poverty states. These people have been genius in pulling the wool over the eyes of some of you out there, and I hope to kind of slay that dragon. Okay, we'll take a break. We're back in a moment. It's called Black Focus Radio. Our issues, our solutions, our voices on joynetradio.com.
Hi, I'm David W. Coleman, host of Black Focus Radio and the weekly sports magazine. We here at joynetradio.com would like to thank you for all the love and support you've given us. Our goal is to keep you inspired and informed daily with quality programming from gospel music, news, talk, and sports. Log on to joynetradio.com for the program lineup, and while there, be sure to make a donation. Then download our app and carry us anywhere in the world. Please continue to spread the word about joynetradio.com. And if you are an entrepreneur or have an upcoming event or you'd like to start a show, let the professional writers and producers here at joynetradio.com help you get the word out. Call me at 615-554-0568 for more details. In the meantime, stay informed and inspired daily right here on joynetradio.com. David W. Coleman here for Coleman's Dynamic Rib Rub and Rib Nuts. Go to ribrub.com, that's RIBBRUBB.com right now, and stock up on the best dry marinades for baking, grilling, and smoking your favorite meats. 3 great flavors, hot and spicy, original, and scorching. Try them at your next cookout and you will shout, bake it, grill it, shake it, oh yeah! Only one place to get Coleman's Dynamic products, that's ribrub.com. Easy to order, and I'll ship direct to you or to friends and family anywhere in the United States. While on the site, be sure to check out other great items, especially the rib nuts. Who'd have thunk it? Peanuts sauteed in a barbecue marinade? That's just crazy good. Get them at ribrub.com right now, along with other great recipes. That's ribrub.com. If you don't like my rib rub or rib nuts, I'll give you money back. Do it today. That's Coleman's Dynamic Products at ribrub.com. Listen! Did you miss Dr. Ernest Gill from UT San Antonio?
When you're making $455 million off these student athletes and all you can come up with is $5,000, John Calipari makes $8 million a year, and his players are going to get $5,000 a year. The majority of these teams were white men and white males and females. Would this be happening? And I would say no, because their families wouldn't let it happen. But we're letting our kids get pimped.
Join the weekly sports magazine every Saturday, 8 to 10 a.m. on joynetradio.com. Welcome back to Black Focus Radio. Our issues, our solutions, our voices. 855-525-56 83 is the number. That's how you get in touch with us if you'd like to join us. Also, don't forget you can hit us up on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. Of course, we upload some of our latest shows all the time and keep you informed and up to date and in the know. Got a lot of great stuff for you today. Of course, we're in the middle of election season. We're going to talk a lot about the nomination of Kamala Harris, the upcoming Democratic National Convention, and of course, the Orange Jesus. I'm loving him burning basically at the stake. But anyway, before we get into all of that, we got to give a shout out to all my friends in the Little Rock area and the Dallas, Texas area. Of course, you all know I've moved to the DMV. I'm loving it, having a great time, and enjoying all of the sights and sounds. I got to go to the Benjamin Banneker Park the other day. You guys know I'm a big history buff. So to be able to walk some of those trails, and I'm looking forward to doing a tour of the Underground Railroad here real soon. So I'll keep you all up to date on all of that as we go forward. But I digress. Let me just introduce a very dear friend of mine. He's been on the show a lot. We reacquainted ourselves years ago at the Black Male Symposium in Philadelphia. And sitting on the stage looking at each other, said, man, I know you. And of course, we knew each other and grew up in Little Rock. And Patrick is doing great things. Of course, when I say Patrick, you all should know who I'm talking about. The great Patrick Oliver joins Black Focus Radio once again. Hello, Patrick. How are you?
Hey, brother. I'm doing great. You can keep on with those accolades. I love them.
Well, I'm hoping you're getting some money with some of those accolades as well.
You know, maybe we speak it into existence.
Well, no doubt about that, man. Of course, since I moved to the DMV, I am relaunching my Black Male, I should see my Black Male Teenage Survival Kit seminar. So we'll be doing giving you some information on that as we move forward. But anyway, we have Patrick on. Patrick called me I guess about a week ago, and forgot that I'm on Eastern time, but I keep weird hours these days. And apparently there were some things that was on his mind that he wanted to talk about, and we're going to talk about those here in just a moment. But before we do that, if you don't know, and Patrick, we got to get you to do something here in the Baltimore DMV area. So we got to work that out. I'm going to be honest with you. We got to get something done up here. But there's an event that's going on in Little Rock. And Patrick, you sent me the flyer, and man, what I'm really enjoying, and I'm going to ask you later on about the development of your reading events and how that's affecting some of these Republicans. But you're doing the Freedom and Heritage Literary Series, and it's going to be Saturday, August 24th, 2024 at 10:30 a.m. CST. Tell us a little bit about that event. And of course, you've got some subsequent events that are going on in various areas as well. So talk a little bit about that event and what it's all about.
Yeah, on the 24th is actually the kickoff for the entire series that we're doing. Like you mentioned, it's the Freedom and Heritage Literary Series 24. And what we're doing is doing a series of community discussions really targeting parent engagement. We talk about education, the importance of education, but one of the most essential and important parts of children developing their educational skills is parent involvement and engagement. So that's what we're trying to do with this series, to kind of remind parents. Some of them already know that they have to play a very important role in their children's lives. But, as things change, parents get busy, they have to work, sometimes 2 jobs, so they're not always able to focus in support of their children in schools. So we put together a series just kind of as a reminder, a monthly reminder, hey, here's some things that you can do to support your children. And what we're doing is bringing in individuals who are writers or who are activists, who has done work around kind of historical work in a lot of cases, or utilizing historical movements as a way of identifying their work, and then they're subsequently taking those strategies that they've identified from historical movements and bringing them to communities, as well as putting them in books and publications, and taking them to the community and say, hey, here is what we want to do to assist you in developing and promoting the education of your children. And again, that will promote the development of our community.
So is this event for parents and children, or is it just for parents and educators?
It's parents and educators, but youth, I would say definitely a great event for youth. One of my mentees, Dr. Amos Wilson, talked a lot about children and young people going to events and activities where they're seeing mature adults or adults engaging in important conversations about growth and development. And so I say if you have a child that's middle school or high school, they should be there so they can hear from individuals who are talking about some best practices associated with improving their lives. Our first speaker, you don't get no better than that, having the mother of Common, who is a former school teacher, principal, and school board member, but she also raised a Grammy Award-winning artist. There are definitely some nuggets in there that she can share from all those experiences. So we're asking, parents to come and get that. But if you're an aspiring entertainer, I think you want to hear what Common's quote-unquote mother coach told him so he can be successful in what he's doing.
Well, I think that's a great idea. And the point you made about taking your kids to places that are in the adult format, but teaching them how to act mature in places like that. I'll give you a quick story. As you know, I love to cook, and I love gourmet food. And when my kids were young, I always would take them to fancy restaurants, 2, 3, 4 years old. And some adults would say, why are you taking your kids to those events, a place like that? Well, what I wanted them to be able to understand is to experience what it's like to be in an adult atmosphere and how you act. Because quite often kids, particularly our kids, don't get an opportunity to be in those types of arenas. So I think you're making an excellent point. But even though this seems like this is a grown-up thing, there are so many things that the young people, some nuggets as you called them, can glean from some of these great speakers. And certainly, if you can't get anything from Common's mother, maybe it's not for you to get.
Exactly. And what is the saying? Getting the information directly from the horse's mouth is what they're saying. Did I say that correctly?
Straight from the horse's mouth, yes. Straight
from the horse's mouth. So you young people will get a chance to find out what were some of Common's attributes, what were some of his shortcomings, and how did he overcome those shortcomings. Obviously, he had a great advantage of having a mother who's an educated, who's well educated, went to school, went to college to be a teacher. So that was an advantage. But at the same time, there was a world out there awaiting him as a young person that he had to deal with. I don't care who you are. If you go to a public school, I don't care how famous your parents are, you're going to run into some life challenges. And so how do you adapt to those life challenges, and how do you grow from those life challenges? But it should be sharing, words like that. That should be important to all parents. Because sometimes we think about our children, the things they go through, when they're athletes and things like that. Some of these children, they become star of a basketball team and they get notarized, start a football team, they get notarized. But sometimes they think they're above the law, and they find out quickly once you get outside of that particular sphere, things are different. You have to abide by certain rules and regulations.
You make an excellent point. It's funny you bring that up. I was watching the story of Darius Miles, who was a starting basketball player for Alabama last year. Of course, the controversy as it relates to he and another buddy shooting a young lady because she wouldn't give him the phone number. And of course, Brandon Miller, who now plays for the Houston Rockets, delivered the gun and somehow skated free. So I think you make an excellent point there. So, Patrick, what are some of the other things that are going to be going on that Saturday?
Mm-hmm. For that particular, Saturday, we're going to have a Q&A, of course, to be part of it, because we want to give parents a chance to ask those questions that, all the time. Parents are always curious about particular things, so we're going to definitely give them that opportunity. We'll have like a little literary cafe where people can buy books, mingle, get their books signed, and, just, again, network, because that's the environment kind of create is to, when we go to these events, more than you just sit, you're doing more than just sitting there. Once it's over, you don't go home. No, hang around and mingle. Even if you don't buy a book, hang around, mingle, talk to people, share with another adult, see what that adult got out of their presentation, because oftentimes people hear things differently. So it'd be nice, from parents, after the presentation and share their thoughts about what was said on that day. And then we're going to share about the other activities that we will be having in the coming weeks, because we got 5 other sessions scheduled after the kickoff session with Kamala's mother. And all those sessions, again, are talking about how historical movements can be used as transformative experiences and ideas for parents to empower their children.
Patrick, I know you've been doing a lot of work with literacy, particularly with Black males, and I tout your successes all the time. And as I told you before we started, we got to get you up in the DMV area. It's certainly needed. But can you talk a little bit about how the politics, it may or may not be affecting your program as it relates to books being banned? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Mm-hmm. In some ways it is. I ran into a bad experience a year and a half ago. One of the authors I was working with, Derek Barnes, who has a book entitled I Am Every Good Thing. We had booked him to go to the Hoover, Alabama school district, which is right outside of Birmingham. It's one of the small school districts, but they had a large Black population at school district. Anytime you're next to the Birmingham, you got Black families who moved to the burbs, quote unquote. And so one parent saw Derek Barnes was coming to campus, and I guess she didn't like that he has a book out titled I Am Every Good Thing, and a Black boy is on the cover with his arms crossed, looking powerful and beautiful. And this parent made up a statement about Mr. Barnes. And that book was also his other book, Crown, was one of the books it's on a banned book list. So it just gave her ammunition. Well, y'all got this guy from the Jack campus. One of his books is banned, and he's coming in and he said such and such about the police. He's anti-police. And Mr. Barnes has never made a statement about that. So they ended up canceling the event. But here's the great part about it, Brother Coleman, is that we, the parents, white parents, like, hold up, no, you can't. Our children meet a guy who's got 2 books in the New York Times bestseller list. I don't care what color he is. I want my child to hear him. So those parents raised hell. We didn't get a chance to get Mr. Barnes back there, but the parents raised so much came to CNN and other major news outlets covered it and embarrassed the superintendent, who tried to throw me on the bus that he didn't have a contract. But, we had all kind of email correspondence confirming the event and invoices and all that sort of thing. So we do have an issue going around, David, about banning books. I mean, it takes so long on that story, but it's an example of how I actually had to deal with that. It became an issue that was picked up by national media. I mean, my phone just blew up with, several news outlets wanted a piece of that story. So it's a problem, and we have to be in a position that we understand the banning of books, this superficial criteria that they created, and a lot of Black folks are not understanding the importance of this effort to ban books, because a lot of Black folks are not happy with the LGBT books that are being published. So they are thinking that the ban book thing is good because it's putting those books under the microscope, not realizing that those LGBT books are just a small percentage of the books that are being banned. The majority of the books being banned are about black and brown children, particularly Black children. So I say to my people in my community, be careful these bandwagons y'all jumping on because you don't care for a particular lifestyle, but that's just a small percentage of the books that are being talked about that should be banned.
You know, it's fascinating to me because I'm a reader, I always have been. Before I traveled out of the city of Little Rock, I had traveled around the world by reading books. And, you know, I experienced a lot of things because I'm pretty sure some of the books that I read, my mom certainly didn't know some of the stuff I was reading, but
right.
it certainly gave me an insight on a lot of different things. And I think it's important that we continue this thing with literacy because it's so very, very important. And we stand up for, look, whether you agree with LGBTQ or not, the fact of the matter is it's the freedom of speech. And anyone can, and I think, and it's the First Amendment. And we have to be very, very careful when we side with people who have agendas other than the Constitution of the United States. Because
say it again. Say it again.
Well, let me just say it again. We have to be careful when we side with people who have other agendas other than the Constitution of the United States, because that is so important, because the underlying carpet, the foundation of this nation is the First Amendment. Look, there are a lot of books in libraries that I don't like. You know what? I don't like the fact that Birth of a Nation is out there. But you know what? Because we have the Constitution of the United States, they have a right to publish that. You know, I have a right not to read it. Now, when it comes to the history of this country, there are certain things that need to be taught in our schools. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people who fear that history because it puts them and their ancestors in a very negative light. My argument to that is, why haven't you done something to try and clean up that negativity as opposed to perpetuating it as you continue to do so? So anyway, let me get out my soapbox. But it's fascinating to me. And that's why I think what you do as far as literacy is concerned is so very, very important. And I tell people all the time, look, I have a 2-year-old granddaughter. I got to keep her for a week, a couple of weeks ago. And every night before we went to bed, I was reading her stories. Every morning when she woke up, she wanted me to read her stories. And I'm not talking about on an electronic device. We actually had hard-covered books. And by the way, and those books were full of young girls who looked like her. So anyway, so Patrick, before I let you go, and we got a few more minutes, you called me the other night, and you seemed a bit disturbed, and you needed to talk. And certainly you're more than welcome to call me anytime you need me. But what was going on? Can you tell the audience some of your thoughts? And because I promised you I wanted you to talk a little bit about some of those things.
Yeah. Now, I think you had posted something that I saw, or did somebody else had posted
I think
something?
I've forgotten what I posted, but I did post. If you notice, I'm posting a lot of.
Right.
I'm not posting a lot of me. I'm posting a lot of memes and stuff like that to try to make people think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it was something related to what we're talking about. Be careful about information that you are reading and the information that's put out there. I think it had something to do with Kamala Harris, the misidentification of who she was, us not understanding what does that mean for her, being a black woman from Jamaica, well, parents from, one of our parents anyways, from Jamaica, her father, and just the confusion that we are going through right now around this country. And I just wanted, similar to what's happening with the book, let's be careful about identifying or calling out individuals who we want to consider others. You know, they are part of us, no matter what we think about their lifestyle. They are our cousins, they are, nieces and nephews. They're in our family. They are musicians at church. So you can't ignore people's existence and who they are. So we don't want to see that happen. I think that's where I thought I was frustrated with some of the things I was seeing from our people about Kamala Harris and her vision as a presidential candidate, and then the action she was receiving, not just from conservatives, black folks and black folks who had huge ideas about what she was saying. And so in social media, we have to be really, really careful. And I just sometimes I see too much. And like, let me talk to somebody who gets it.
Hi, I'm David W. Coleman, host of Black Focus Radio and the Weekly Sports Magazine. We here at joinetradio.com would like to thank you for all the love and support you've given us. Our goal is to keep you inspired and informed daily with quality programming from gospel music, news talk, and sports. Log on to joinetradio.com for the program lineup, and while there, be sure to make a donation. Then download our app and carry us anywhere in the world. Please continue to spread the word about joinetradio.com. And if you are an entrepreneur or have an upcoming event, or you'd like to start a show, let the professional writers and producers here at joinetradio.com help you get the word out. Call me at 615-554-0568 for more details. In the meantime, stay informed and inspired daily right here on joinetradio.com.
Machismo in
David W. Coleman here for Coleman's Dynamic Rip Rub and Rib Nuts. Go to ribrub.com. That's RIBBRUBB.com right now and stock up on the best dry marinades for baking, grilling, and smoking your favorite meats. 3 great flavors: hot, spicy, original, and scorching. Try them at your next cookout and you'll shout, bacon, grillin', shaking, oh yeah! Only one place to get Coleman's Dynamic products. That's ribrub.com. Easy to order, and I'll ship direct to you or to friends and family anywhere in the United States. While on the site, be sure to check out other great items, especially the rib nuts. Who'd have thunk it? Peanuts sauteed in a barbecue marinade. That's just crazy good. Get them at ribrub.com right now, along with other great recipes. That's ribrub.com. If you don't like my rib rub or rib nuts, I'll give you money back. Do it today. That's Coleman's Dynamic Products at ribrub.com.
And I can go on and on and on.
Did you miss
so I was glad you called me
San Antonio?
When you're making $455 million off student athletes, and all you come up with is $5,000. John Calipari makes $8 million a year, and his players are going to get $5,000. The majority of these teams are white men and white males and females. Would this be happening? And I would say no, because their families would let it happen. But we're letting our kids get pimped.
Join the Weekly Sports Magazine every Saturday, 8 to 10 a.m. on joinetradio.com.
The work that you're doing, Black Focus Radio, and it's important. Very quickly, I want to make sure that I shout out the sponsors, one of the primary sponsors for the Freedom and Heritage Literary Series is the National Park Service Little Rock Central High School National Historic Site.
Hell to the old goal.
Yep, they're playing a major role in that. So shout out to the folks over there, the wonderful work that they're doing, keeping the energy alive, helping me understand how freedom movements, those ideas, those historical movements can play a role in empowering our children and our community. Because again, they played a role in helping me kind of get the right messaging out for this series. So shout out to Brian and Robin and those folks over there who are doing a wonderful job at Little Rock Future High. And also the Little Rock School District Office of Parent and Community Engagement. They're playing a role in that. So the folks over at Southwest High School, Magnet High School, I should call it, Southwest Magnet High School, their, again, Parent and Community Engagement Department is playing a role making sure parents get to the event. So that's a big win for us, David, to have that department, that young lady who's over there, Jadelle Robinson, come in and say, hey, let's do it on our campus and we'll make it happen because I want my parents to see and be a part of the rich information that comes. I'm not going to take that back. What Dr. Mahalia Hines is going to be talking about, not Carmen's mother, because she has her own identity.
Yes.
Dr. Mahalia Hines. I'm excited about what she's going to be talking about, and that's technology and the overuse of technology being involved in our children's lives.
So again, Patrick, quickly tell people where the event is going to be. Do they need to register? Are there tickets? Give us all the where to forth art thous.
Again, it kicks off on next Saturday, the 24th. So be at Southwest High School, Magnet School. Let me repeat that: Southwest Magnet High School, and that's in Southwest Little Rock. And they can info at speakloudly.com, or they can call it 501-952-6269. You can reach out to me that way, or go to our website, www.speakloudly.com, for information about the entire series. It's free. We got 6 dynamic sessions that are going to be taking place. So they're going to get a chance to meet some brilliant individuals who are really active in the community, who are authors, who are going to be coming to community and sharing with the community about the literacy, freedom movement, identify, the importance of culture relevant books. And again, freedom and heritage. Back to one of your earlier points is we have to know what impacted our people. How do we get what we got? It may make some people uncomfortable, but hey, it's the truth. It's America's ugly history.
No doubt about it. Patrick Oliver, thanks for joining us as always. And of course, you've got a place on this show anytime you got something happening. And you got to get to the DMV. It's a whole lot of soul brothers and sisters up here, bro. You know that.
Okay. I'm going to be up that way, but I'm going to be in Harrisonburg, Virginia. But I'm going to try to stop by the Congressional Black Caucus event that's supposed to be happening a week prior, but I don't know if I'll be able to make it.
All right, well, we'll get something set up for you. No ifs, ands, and buts about it. Again, Patrick Oliver, speakloudly.com. Y'all go check him out. Brother's doing yeoman's work out here in the community to educate our young people, particularly our black males, on the importance of literacy. Thanks again, Patrick.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Hi, I'm David W. Coleman, host of Black Focus Radio and the weekly sports magazine. We here at joinnetradio.com would like to thank you for all the love and support you've given us. Our goal is to keep you inspired and informed daily with quality programming from gospel music, news, talk, and sports. Log on to joinnetradio.com for the program lineup, and while there, be sure to make a donation. Then download our app and carry us anywhere in the world. Please continue to spread the word about joinnetradio.com. And if you are an entrepreneur or have an upcoming event, or you'd like to start a show, let the professional writers and producers here at joinnetradio.com help you get the word out. Call me at 615-554-0568 for more details. In the meantime, stay informed and inspired daily right here on joinnetradio.com. David W. Coleman here for Coleman's Dynamic Rib Rub and Rib Nuts. Go to ribrub.com, that's RIBBRUBB.com right now, and stock up on the best dry marinades for baking, grilling, and smoking your favorite meats. 3 great flavors: hot and spicy, original, and scorching. Try them at your next cookout and you'll shout, bake it, grill it, shake it, oh yeah! Only one place to get Coleman's Dynamic products. That's ribrub.com. easy to order, and I'll ship direct to you or to friends and family anywhere in the United States. While on the site, be sure to check out other great items, especially the rib nuts. Who'd have thunk it? Peanuts sauteed in a barbecue marinade? That's just crazy good. Get them at ribrub.com right now, along with other great recipes. That's ribrub.com. If you don't like my rib rub or rib nuts, I'll give you money back. Do it today. That's Coleman's Dynamic Products at ribrub.com.
Listen!
Did you miss Dr. Ernest Gill from UT San Antonio?
When you're making $455 million off these student athletes, and all you can come up with is $5,000, John Calipari makes $8 million a year, and his players are going to get $5,000 a year. The majority of these teams were white men and white males and females. Would this be happening? And I would say no, because their families wouldn't let it happen. But we're letting our kids get pimped.
Join the weekly sports magazine every Saturday, 8 to 10 a.m. on joynetradio.com.
Bake it, grill it, smoke it. Oh yeah, at ribrub.com. Coleman's Dynamic Pepper Juice is lighting fires around the country. It's the new product from ribrub.com. Use it on meats and vegetables. Add it to your gumbos and greens for an extra punch. Made with all natural ingredients, Coleman's Dynamic Pepper Juice will enhance the flavors of your favorite recipes. Order today on ribrub.com. And while there, be sure to check out some of our other great products. It's developed with love and care using the best all-natural ingredients with no GMOs or preservatives. From snacks to seasonings, Coleman's Dynamic Products has something for everyone. Bake it, grill it, smoke it. Oh yeah, at ribrub.com.
Hey, beautiful. You look gorgeous. Are you doing something different? There's a healthy glow about you.
Thanks. I'm just my natural self.
Come on. What's your secret?
Okay. Since I found SkinTentional.com, I've been getting a lot of those comments.
SkinTentional.com?
Yes. SkinTentional.com is handcrafted, luxurious natural baths and body care products. Crafted for those with a designer's taste for high-quality skincare products, but won't break your bank. From body butter to oils and soaps, SkinTentional has something for everyone, including the man in your life. Get your man some beard balm and oils, and yes, they offer body butters and soap for him as well, without making him smell like flowers. Go to SkinTentional.com and check out their amazing products. They believe self-care should be an intentional and joyous experience for all. SkinTentional.com.
Pigskin, check. Round ball, check. Hard ball, check. Hockey puck, check. Burning rubber, check. We got it all on the weekly sports page with David Coleman. What else do you need? Did I say food? Can't have sports without food. What kind of show is this again?
A sports show.
Oh, okay. Pass me those rib nuts.
Yeah, we do have it all and a whole lot more with me, Dynamic David Coleman, on the weekly sports magazine.
Welcome back to the show, Black Focus Radio, our issues, our solutions, our voices. We're about to wrap up this hour. Just want to remind you, coming up next hour, we're going to talk a little more politics. The Trumpkins have lost their minds now that Kamala Harris in the race. We'll get into all of that next hour. A lot of stuff to talk about. We'll also give you the top 10 states that have the highest poverty rates in America, and there's something in common in all of them. I'm talking about pulling the wool over your eyes. By the way, I want to thank Patrick Oliver for taking a little time out to tell us about the event that's going to take place on his next weekend. And let me just quickly, I'm going to pull up the details of this. This is going to be, let's see, August 24th at 10 a.m., the Freedom and Heritage Literary Series featuring Dr. Mahalia Hines, who is the mother of Common, and she's written a lot of interesting things. And there are some upcoming events as well. Let's see, Saturday, September 7th, Kenneth Braswell, the executive chief CEO, I should say, of Fathers Incorporated. I'm going to look into that because I'm going to start doing some things again in father. So thanks, Patrick, for that. So a lot of stuff to talk about. Of course, we haven't been on in a while. The DMV has had me rolling. By the way, I just want to take a little time out. This week was a critical week for me, okay? And what I mean by that is last year, this time, I was in ICU. And since we've got a few minutes to go here, I thought I'd just go ahead and take this time to talk a little bit about, you know, where I was and where I am today. Now, I won't bore you with all of the details of what happened, but those of you who don't know, last year this time I was checked into the ER and then ICU in the hospital because I had a sugar reading of 725. Yep, 725. All right. And by all accounts, I should have died, or I should at least have had a stroke or some debilitating health issue. Needless to say, as time went on, I no longer have diabetes. I'm sitting here able to do a show, have moved from Little Rock to Baltimore. It has been challenging. I won't say that it hasn't been, but overall, I'm still standing. Okay? And I feel good. I don't have any sugar. I don't take insulin. I don't do any of that stuff. Okay? And I'm happy to say that I don't. I watch my health as I always did, but it was a eye-opening experience for me. And there were a lot of people that offered their prayers and their concerns about me and helped me out. Certainly Jackie and Crystal, who kept an eye on me, because I'm going to be totally honest, those two ladies made sure that I got to the ER and to the hospital when I needed to. So I want to thank them. And I sit here today because of their personal love for me and their agape love for me. And I just want to take this moment to say thank you. I really appreciate it. It was a hair-raising experience. I don't know, many of you, when you reach this age, we've all been through something. We've all had to deal with something. And usually it's health related. Certainly deaths in the family and all of those things that you live through when you get to our age, which is my age is 63. I still can't believe that I'm that old, but I am. Okay. So to be able to sit here and talk to you and do this show just gives me great joy. It really does, because I know I'm not supposed to be here. You know, and some people say, well, you are supposed to be here because you're still here. And to some extent, I understand that. But to be where I am in my current health situation, based on what I went through a year ago, is nothing short of a miracle as far as I'm concerned. And I've tried to take this last month, and certainly as I move forward in my life, the rest of the life that I have on this earth, I always say that I have more time behind me than I do ahead of me. So I want to make the best of it. So there are some things that are happening in my life that's going to be some changes. I'll just leave it at that. And one may be huge. My friends are saying, oh God, here he goes again. But both are going to be huge, I think. But there are going to be some changes in my life. And I've tried to live my life a little differently since the ordeal. You might say that I'm a little bit more adventurous. I've always been adventurous, but there are things that I want to get accomplished. there are things that I want to be able to do. And I know I don't have much time left. So I just want to be able to do those things. But I'm happy that I'm here. I'm happy that I was able to get through that ordeal relatively unscathed. But it's been, I'm different. I laugh a lot more. A lot of my friends told me that I didn't laugh. I rarely smiled. I try to smile now. I try to laugh. I thought I laughed anyway, and look, I appreciate your indulgence and letting me take this moment to just share with you. But this is an important week for me. This is like my rebirth. You know what I'm saying? This is my rebirth, or my rebirth day, because I should say my rebirth week, but y'all get what I'm saying. But it's been an eye-opening experience, to say the least. And I gotta tell you, I'm just happy for the journey. I am. I'm just happy for the journey. I realize that I don't. I tell you what, it's funny. We're gonna wrap up and go to the next segment. Next hour's coming up. But Neil deGrasse Tyson, he has a way. I mean, I love Dr. Tyson. I think he is the most realist person that we have out there right now. And in fact, I actually posted it on my wall about the afterlife. And, I live from a scientific standpoint, but you still have some of the spiritual in you. And he just burst, and I don't mean to burst your bubble, but he said, based on scientific evidence, there's nothing that says that you go into some spiritual realm in the afterlife. You are just like you were before you were born. Think about that. Before you were born, did you even know who you were? Hell no. I know some people think they were reincarnated, but anyway. But I say all that to say, hey, I'm just happy to be here. Okay? I'm just happy to be here. And I'm glad you're there listening to Black Focus Radio, our issues, our solutions, our voices. Coming up next hour, we're going to talk a little bit about the top poverty-ridden states in the United States. Okay? And we're going to talk about that. We're also going to get into a lot of the election. And last segment, of course, we'll do what we must do. It's pretty clear, but we have to continue to, it's kind of like practice. Practice, you're talking about practice. It's kind of like practice. Yeah, you have to continually talk to people and tell people what needs to be done. So we'll do that in what we must do. Okay, so we'll take the top of the hour break. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed the interview with Patrick Oliver. Of course, be sure to check that out. Be sure to make sure that you get your kids out there. And this is and Patrick and I, we talked a good deal about how it's important that even though you think it may be an adult setting, bring your kids as well to teach them how to act around adults and in adult settings. Anyway, we'll take a break. We'll be back in a moment. You're listening to Black Focus Radio, our issues, our solutions, our voices on joynetradio.com.
The views and opinions expressed today on Black Focus Radio are not the views and opinions of the station, its management, or its advertisers. Now, let's get ready to focus on our issues, our solutions, using our voices on Black Focus Radio.
Welcome to Black Focus, the show designed with our community in mind, where we focus on our issues, developing our solutions, using our voices. Central Arkansas, surrounding areas, and the nation. Get ready. Black Focus starts right now. Phone lines open at 855-525-5683. So here's your host, David W. Coleman.
All right, welcome back to Black Focus Radio. Our issues, our solutions, our voices. 855-525-5683 is the number. That's how you get in touch with us. If you'd like to join the show, send me an email, blackfocusradio@gmail.com. Hit us up on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter as well. Excuse me, not Twitter. We're not even on Twitter. Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. We don't do the X thing. We're going to talk a little bit about the debacle on X again with the orange guy. We'll get into that here in just a moment. But I want to set the groundwork. I want to tell you a few things about what's going on. And don't forget to support our sponsors, ribrub.com and skintentional.com as well. So there are a couple of things that we need to pay attention to. We got an election coming up. It is very important that we understand all of the things and the dynamics that go into that. Of course, Kamala Harris is now the Democratic nominee. The Democratic National Convention starts next week. We'll certainly try to give you some information on that. I know there's an event for the Black Caucus that's going to be here in the in the DMV area around 1st of September. I'm going to try to go there, get some video and things of that nature to bring back as well. So we'll keep you posted on all of that also. But there are a lot of things that we need to pay attention to. And particularly as we head into election season, we've got to press the flesh as it relates to giving people the proper information about what's going on with these candidates. And I'm not just talking about the presidential candidates, but the ones down ballot as well. And that's very important if we want to be successful in running all of these troglodytes out of office. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Troglodytes, whatever you want to call them, Republicans, repugnants, all of them. You get the drift, right? I make no bones about it. And look, I'm not trying to be political because I will tell you that I'm an independent. But there's something serious going on here in America. And it amazes me how they are able to continue to push these messages of lies and people continue to buy into them. And the irony is that if I walked up to any of these troglodytes and asked them, or I knew them, or if you go in and you look at their family situation, I guarantee you every one of them have raised their children to be truthful. Every one of them have raised their children to not lie. I guarantee you that has happened. But the sad thing about it, they seem to accept the fact that Donald Trump's a liar. It runs the gamut. I tell the story all the time about Owsley, Kentucky. Owsley, Kentucky at one point, and probably still is, one of the most poorest counties in America. At one point, it was Sugar Ditch. That was in Mississippi, right outside of Memphis. And, of course, the casinos came and ran all of those poor people away. But Sugar Ditch at one point was one of the poorest, the poorest county in America, right outside of Memphis. And at the time, I attended a church, and we used to take, during the holidays, we used to take food, clothing. We take nurses down there for medical care, things of that nature, because a lot of that area was predominantly black. I could go into some of the stories that or the things that we encountered while we were there. But Owsley, Kentucky is predominantly white and votes Republican 94-95% of the time. During the time that President Obama launched the affordable health care and was able to grant people health care that hadn't gotten it, At the time, there was a Democratic governor in Kentucky, and they were one of the first states to accept it. And many of those people in Owsley, Kentucky, was able to get health care for the first time in the history. Now, I can imagine just what it was like living without health care. Because I went to Sugar Ditch, Mississippi, and Sugar Ditch, Mississippi showed us a lot. But you know what happened? When the Republicans decided to run against this Democratic governor, Owsley, Kentucky, once again, voted 94-95% for the Republicans. Even during the time that Beshears was in office, I think it was Beshears at the time. That's amazing to me. I say all that to say this. I want to give you the list of U.S. states with the highest poverty rates. Okay? And by the way, Kentucky is on this list. Okay? Let's go in ascending order. Georgia is number 12. This is the top 12. North Carolina is number 11. And I know what you're probably saying. Dave, why are you talking about this? Just hold your horses. I'm going to tell you here in just a moment. Tennessee is number 10. I've lived in that state. South Carolina, number 9. Oklahoma, number 8. Alabama, number 7. Kentucky, good old bluegrass, number 6. Louisiana, number 5. New Mexico, number 4. Arkansas, number 3. West Virginia, number 2. And you know, that state, Mississippi's number 1. Now here's why I'm bringing this up. Here's why I think this is important. Because every one of those states are ran by Republicans. Their House, their state legislature, whatever they call it, House of Commons, whatever they're calling it now, and the governorship is ran by Republicans. And what boggles my mind about all of this is how they continually convince people that it's okay. They continually convince people that it's okay. And they're for the good of the people. And they run and they throw that, this right-wing religious zealot stuff at people. That reminds me, how can you be a Christian and you be a Republican? Think about that. Think about that. But how are they able to convince people that they are for their benefit when they are clearly robbing the public blind? Donald Trump's a classic. Just this week, it comes out that there is an investigation, or there was an investigation that was shut down by Attorney General Barr at the time about Egypt possibly giving Trump $10 million in duffel bags. There was credible information that had occurred. But because Bill Barr was the Attorney General, he basically shut the investigation down. This information has just come out within the last week. You have a 34-count convicted felon. Also a person who was found liable in a sexual assault case, who continually lies over and over again, suggested that one of Kamala Harris's events last week was AI generated. How is this man able to, how is this man able to continue to schmooze you all? He's a flim-flam man. He's the Pied Piper. I mean, so many people now are even suggesting that somehow or another, Donald Trump is an angel of God. These 12 states that I just named, that's where his constituencies are. Every one of them are living below the poverty line. People are suffering. There are certain people who are making money, but overall, people are suffering. And then, you know what? It doesn't have anything to do. It doesn't have anything to do with the national economy. They have poor schools in most of these states. They have poor leadership. And they're right-wing conservative, and they get people hyped up on things like abortion. They get people hyped up on things like CRT. I was watching a news brief a couple of days ago. Well, I guess it was probably YouTube, because I watch a lot of YouTube of a news channel. And it was at a school board meeting. Okay? It was at a school board meeting. And at that school board meeting, an audience member got up and asked one of these right-wing fundamentalist people who apparently had weaseled her way on the school board in this particular county. They asked her, because she was up there espousing the quote-unquote woke agenda. It's really amazing to me how these Republicans come up with these catchphrases and try to use them and what you call at least weaponize them. Okay? It's amazing that this continually happens. So this school board member was asked, can you define woke? What is woke? You talking about a word salad. Man, all you needed was your special dressing. Because, see, they don't know what they're doing. They glob onto stupidity and try to use it as a political wedge to get people to vote one way or the other. But again, all of those all of those states that I just talked about are below are the worst poverty states in America. At some point, the American people are going to have to wake up. At some point, the American people are going to say, hey, you know what? We've had enough of this. And I'm hoping that this is the election to do that. I'm hoping that people will say, hey, we've had enough of Donald Trump. At some point, you need to do that because this has gotten ridiculous. The things that he does, the things that he says. I mean, we've talked a lot. We spent a whole show talking about Project 2025 that has now changed its name again. I think it changed it to Agenda 47. By the way, apparently there are some video clips out there that you can go out and those of you who don't like to read, you can go out and look at the video clips of what Agenda 47 or Project 2025 is all about. What makes you think, and I say this over and over again, you know what I like about Kamala Harris? And you know what I like about Tim Walz? Is that they grew up regular folks. Aren't y'all tired? Think about this. The last time we had a regular guy in the White House, just a regular guy, some might say Barack Obama. Was he just a regular guy? He was still kind of, snooty, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, he was black. So I guess you could say just a regular guy. But I'm going to tell you who I think it is. You want to say Bill Clinton? Clinton? No. Clinton was not a regular guy. He did some regular stuff, but he wasn't a regular guy. I mean, it's Jimmy Carter. 76. That far back was 76, 80. Jimmy Carter. Regular guy. And proved that he was a regular guy throughout his entire life by helping regular folks. That's what I like about Kamala Harris. This argument, this girl worked at McDonald's. How many of y'all wanted a job at McDonald's when you were growing up? Half of y'all wanted them jobs at McDonald's because all you wanted to do was eat them cheeseburgers. They were much better back in the day than they are now. Kamala Harris worked at McDonald's. Kamala Harris was a regular girl. That's what it was all about. Worked her way through school, got up, went to college, went to an HBCU, worked her way up, got elected in California from the DA to the all the way up to the Attorney General, then a U.S. Senator. She's a regular girl. Tim Walz is another one. Regular guy, 24 years in the Air National Guard, with the Army National Guard, school teacher, football coach. The regular guy. Now, look across the way. A grifter, a felon. Just, in other words, rich. I've said this over and over again. When was the last time you saw a rich person give a damn about poor people? They'll say it. That includes Republican or Democrat. Sorry, don't get mad at me. I'm just being real. When was the last time you heard a rich person be concerned about poor people? They really don't. Donald Trump has already told you that, hey, look, if he went to the oil executive and said, hey, give me $1 billion, and when I become president, I'll make sure that you get all the tax breaks you want. Donald Trump wants to argue about inflation under Joe Biden. Well, let me tell you something. When Barack Obama handed over the presidency and this economy to Donald Trump, this economy was in good stead. When Donald Trump lost to Joe Biden, this economy was in shambles. Now, you can say the pandemic had a lot to do with it, and certainly it did. But the bottom line is it was in shambles. But guess what? Now, just recently, news of yesterday that the economy is doing much better. All indications saying the economy is doing much better. Under Donald Trump, we're still paying for those tax breaks for the rich people that he gave those tax breaks to. He gave them tax cuts, and then he didn't offset anything. I guess that's a good thing, because usually when they give out those tax cuts, they cut from programs that help poor people, people that are struggling. The struggle out is real. So, I guess what I'm trying to say to you all, that there's a lot of stuff that you got to start paying attention to. A A lot of stuff. We spend so much time worrying about who kissed who, or who dissed who, or who there's a diss track for here. Look, JC Love and I were talking. And one of the things that we realize, at least what I realize, is that when you go back and you look at the celebrities that were part of the movement back in the 60s, when you look at James Baldwin, when you look at Harry Belafonte, when you look at the athletes that was involved in the movement, they weren't there for their own self-aggrandizement. They were there and they were making statements at the Olympics. They were making statements in the boxing ring. They were making statements on the baseball, football, basketball, everywhere. They weren't there to try to put themselves above the quote-unquote leaders. They were there to lend a hand. These entertainers today don't give a damn about our communities. Very few of them. Very few. We've got to start paying attention to those things. That's why this election is so important. And we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. It is so important. Why are y'all upset? I want to know why black people are mad at Kamala Harris. She ain't black enough. She high yellow. Is that what it is? She's married to a white guy. Is that what it is? Let me ask you, what do you think the alternative would be? What do you think it'll be? Tell you what, let's take a break. We'll ask that question when we get back. You're listening to Black Focus Radio, our issues, our solutions, our voices on joynetradio.com.
Bake it, grill it, smoke it. Oh yeah, at BreaBrub.com. Holman's Dynamic Pepper Juice is lighting fires around the country. It's the new product from RealBrub.com. Use it on meats and vegetables. Add it to your gumbos and greens for an extra punch. Made with all natural ingredients, Holman's Dynamic Pepper Juice will enhance the flavors of your favorite recipes. Order today on RealBrub.com. And while there, be sure to check out some of our other great products. It's developed with love and care using the best all-natural ingredients with no GMOs or preservatives. From snacks to seasonings, Coleman's Dynamic Products has something for everyone. Bake it, grill it, smoke it. Oh yeah, at BreaBrub.com.
Hey, beautiful. You look gorgeous. Are you doing something different? There's a healthy glow about you.
Thanks. I'm just my natural self.
Come on. What's your secret?
Okay. Since I found SkinTentional.com, I've been getting a lot of those comments.
SkinTentional.com?
Yes. SkinTentional.com is handcrafted, luxurious natural baths and body care products. Crafted for those with a designer's taste for high-quality skincare products but won't break your bank. From body butter to oils and soaps, SkinTentional has something for everyone, including the man in your life. Get your man some beard balm and oils. And yes, they offer body butters and soap for him as well, without making him smell like flowers. Go to SkinTentional.com and check out their amazing products. They believe self-care should be an intentional and joyous experience for all. SkinTentional.com.
Pigskin, check. Round ball, check. Hard ball, check. Hockey puck, check. Burning rubber, check. We got it all on the weekly sports page with David Coleman. What else do you need? Did I say food? Can't have sports without food. What kind of show is this again?
A sports show.
Oh, okay. Pass me those rib nuts.
Yeah, we do have it all and a whole lot more with me, Dynamic David Coleman, on the weekly sports magazine.
All right, welcome back to Black Focus Radio, our issues, our solutions, our voices. 855-525-5683 is the number. That's how you get in touch with me if you want to join the show. Coming up in the last segment of the show is what we must do. All right? So, the election is upon us. Kamala Harris is the Democratic nominee. We'll talk more about this next week as we go through the convention. Donald Trump is faltering, and I find it fascinating. There was a piece on Fox News. Of course, don't get me wrong, I don't watch Fox News. There was a clip that I saw that apparently the people at Fox News are upset that Kamala Harris and her gang are making fun of Donald Trump's age. I asked you before the break, what was the alternative? Unfortunately, in America, we only have 2 political parties. I wish we had 4 or 5 or 6. But we don't. We have 2 political parties. And I find it fascinating that anyone who gets information from Fox News, just understand that they had to pay $787 million in libel fees for lying. You can't trust them. I don't even, their name is Fox News, but saying news and associating that word with that network is an insult to news and anyone who's ever participated in news. But I asked, what was the alternative? Well, let me tell you. You got a 34 count felon. You have also convicted of libel for sexual assault. Grifted the American public. Wannabe dictator. January 6th instigator and proponent. Bigot, racist, misogynistic, clearly don't like black people and particularly don't like black women, which is odd to me. What's the alternative? Talk to me. Those of you out there who don't like Kamala Harris, look, she ain't my favorite person either. And let me tell you all something. The one thing about politics is that at some point, everybody is going to, when you run politics, there's going to be dirt on there. But there's news coming out about Tim Walsh where back in 95, he had a DUI. I don't care. That doesn't make him a bad person. There are people all the time who, unfortunately, make mistakes. How do you clean it up? How did you clean it up? That's what's important. 95. So, see, what they're doing is digging. They're trying to find anything. Okay. They're trying to find it. According to court and police records connected with the incident, Walsh admitted in court that he had been drinking when he was pulled over driving 96 in a 55-mile zone in Nebraska. Walsh was then transported by state troopers to a local hospital for blood tests showing he had a blood alcohol of 1.128, well above the state's limit of 0.1 at the time. But in 2006, his campaign repeatedly told press that he had not been drinking that night, claiming that his failed field sobriety test was due to a misunderstanding related to hearing loss from his time at the National Guard. Is that a big deal to me? No. Walsh has come out and did a lot of good things. So I ain't got a problem with Walsh. I like the guy because he's a coach. I like him because he's a coach. if you're a coach, especially a football coach, you understand a lot of stuff. You understand a lot of people. And man, come on. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But they're grasping at straws here. Fox News was upset because people were making fun of Donald Trump's age. Well, you made fun of Joe Biden's age. That's what's weird about it. They're upset. It's amazing how they project on other people, and people don't get it. He calls Biden or now Kamala Harris a criminal. But damn, dude, you got 34 felonies. You don't like Harris because she's a black woman. Well, she ain't black, she identifies as Indian. Really? Okay. So now you're trying to define who's black and who isn't. These are your Republicans. And the amazing thing about it, that there are so many out there who just simply condone this person and condone this behavior. And you all follow it hook, line, and sinker. I ask you, what's the alternative? This is the alternative. He's telling you what he's going to do. He's going to destroy this country. This is the most critical election that I've ever seen in the history of America since I've been born. Now, certainly there were other significant ones back in the day. But in my lifetime, this election coming up in November is critical. And black people and people of color, women, men of like consciousness better get on board and go and vote. If you got to hold your nose and vote for Kamala Harris, then do so. Because what's the alternative? Okay? What's the alternative? Project 2025? Destroy school lunch programs? Destroy the public school system? Is that what you want? Cut Social Security? Move the retirement age back to 70 as opposed to 63? In 2 years, I can retire and start drawing my money. Hell, I need to. Joe Biden was instrumental in getting the insulin cost down to $35. Man, look, during the brief period that I was taking insulin, man, that's a damn nightmare. You can't afford it. If you don't have health insurance, and hell, I was paying, because I was a single payer, I worked for myself, hell, I was paying, $500 a month at one point. Unbelievable. What's the alternative? I'm asking you because y'all make my head hurt. I'm just going to be real with you. What's the alternative? One other thing I want to talk about is, these people have lost their minds. I think we're pretty, we understand that now, right? And it's amazing how the hatred is so obvious. But you all remember Hercules, right? You remember him? Big Herc. Well, Hercules is a mythical character, and there have been multiple people who have portrayed Hercules in the movies and on television. Kevin Sorbo is one of them. Sorbo is one of them. And Kevin Sorbo, for some weird reason, it's to a point now, if I know your politics and your politics support Donald Trump, I don't really have nothing to do with you. That's just how I am. And if you are an actor, a rapper, or whomever the case may be, you support Donald Trump, I don't really have nothing to do with you. Now, Kevin Sorbo was the star of a TV series, back in the 90s, called Hercules. And for some real reason, and he's a Republican, a Republican. He came out with the weirdest stuff. These people are just so weird, man. I don't know what to say about them. They're just weird. Here's what he came up. Here's what he said. If Kamala Harris really is black, have her say the N-word. Let the people decide for themselves. Huh? These people are sick, man. Why would she need... Now, I have an idea. You all know my stance on the N-word. Hell, it is, in my opinion, the most despicable word in the English language. Period. I don't use the word. I don't use the context of the word. Whether it's with the ending of A or ER, I don't use it. And I often would tell people, what would happen if we had a national day of N-word secession? Take one day out of the year, just like you do Juneteenth or whatever little other holiday, take one day and don't say that word. Instead of calling your brother the N-word, because some of you all use it as a term of endearment. Yeah, right. Instead of saying, hey, N-word, hey, brother, what's happening? I do that today. If I see somebody need to talk, hey, brother, can I holler at you? Hey, sister. I don't use that word. I don't allow people around me to use that word. Don't refer to me as such. The women that I've dated, that vernacular may go on in your house, but don't you ever refer to me as he my N-word. No. So what's behind Kevin Sorbo? Hercules, the legendary journey. He's a nutbag. Sorbo has been called out by others for pushing conspiracy theories on social media, such as a recent one concerning photos capturing the crowd size at a recent rally of Harris and a presidential running mate. Okay, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. He also has gotten in trouble for spreading misinformation about COVID-19 and the vaccines used to treat it, which led to Facebook removing his page in 2021. Yeah, he's a nutbag. He's a nutbag. Speaking of nutbags, we know Trump is a nutbag, and anyone who follows him. Sorbo is a nutbag, but here's another one, and this one is even more dangerous than the other two. Elon Musk. Elon Musk is the richest man in the world, and he has his paws on our space program. Y'all get this right. And he's a Donald Trump supporter. I've said this over and over again that Elon Musk is a bigot and a racist. Look, I don't use those terms lightly. He grew up in South Africa. His father earned his money, a lot of his money, on the backs of black people. Do your history or your research on the history of South Africa and apartheid. Elon Musk was part of that. He was part of those values. He was part of those mores. And now he lives in America. And do you believe that he's changed? Do you think that those same values and mores that he that was espoused to him as a young person, a child, a kid, a young person growing up, do you think that changed him any? No. It's pretty obvious it didn't. He's a despicable human being with money. And he's dangerous because his SpaceX program is how they're going to get those 2 astronauts down. Y'all do know that there are 2 astronauts stranded in space right now, right? And I love how they play it off. Well, we had contingency plans for this, and we'll accommodate. They'll be able to stay. And while they're there, they'll be able to do some of the research that the other people didn't get a chance to start or finish. So they'll be all right. Well, Mr. Johnson's laboratory person, can you tell me how long you think they'll be there? Well, we believe that they could be there up until February. Because, their return rocket booster, it apparently isn't working. So apparently they want to use one of Elon Musk's things, and he's going to charge the American taxpayer billions of dollars to use it. Boy, this guy's dangerous. What if Elon Musk decided that he no longer wanted to have his company in America, and he moved it to another country? How could you stop him? How could you stop him? And the fact that he has control of a media source, which is Twitter, or I should say X, when he bought it, he went through this thing that he was going to make everybody pay, $4.99 to get a premium account. I'm not paying. Apparently a lot of people have. In fact, I don't even go on X anymore. I wasn't a big Twitter follower in the first place. But now that I know that Elon Musk owns it, even if I'm not spending 1 penny, I am not doing anything on that platform. It's the same with a Tesla car. Why would I buy a Tesla? Why would you buy a Tesla? You're putting money in this man's pocket as he tries to undermine American democracy. Why would you buy a Tesla? Well, I don't know what is fascinating with young people about with Teslas. What's going on here? You 18 years old and you want your mama to buy you a Tesla. Are you out your rabbit? I'm sorry, little Judy. I didn't mean to call you a rabbit. But why would I buy a Tesla? Elon Musk owns Tesla. I'm not going to do anything that's going to allow Elon Musk to make any more money than he already has, because he's trying to undermine the very thing that we live and hold so dear, and that's the Constitution of the United States. Apparently he's giving Donald Trump $45 million a week. I did say week. You got that much money that you could dump $45 million into a campaign. But then again, and here's the irony behind it, to show you how disgusting these people are, is that Donald Trump was one of the people who didn't believe that electric vehicles were necessary. He's still in the bed, or trying to get in the bed, with ExxonMobil and things of that nature. But now, because Elon Musk says, well, I'm going to give you $45 million. And I'm going to keep it coming. Just remember me when you get in the White House. We're watching the grift take place right in our eyes, and nobody is paying attention to it. That's what's annoying to me about this. That's what's really annoying to me about all of this. This grift is real. It's happening. But I know for dang sure you should not be supporting Elon Musk. And by the way, that debacle on X the other night was just that, a debacle. You would tend to believe that a man that has more money than anyone else in the world could hire a production team to make sure that this event goes off without a hitch. But they didn't. Didn't seem to care. By the way, remember DeSantis? I had DeSantis flashbacks. Because that was the same thing that happened. There's an irony here. By the way, he didn't criticize Elon Musk for that problem, did he? Remember at the National Association of Black Journalists, he criticized them, and come to find out it was Donald Trump who caused the delay. I've never seen anything like this, folks. I asked you earlier, what's the alternative? I told you about Owsley, Kentucky. But I've never seen anything like this. Is this some cruel joke that people who are poor, impoverished, either going to vote for Donald Trump or not vote? Is this some joke here? Am I missing something here? Do you think that he's one of y'all? Is that what I'm hearing? Donald Trump is one of us. No, he isn't. Y'all would have already been in jail. Okay? You wouldn't have been able to run a campaign. You would have already been in jail. You would have already been sentenced. This is a sad state of affairs for our democracy. It really is. The fact that he was president at one point and running again makes it sad. It makes it pathetic. It makes it just ridiculous. It makes no sense whatsoever. But this is what we have here. This is what we have going forward. The question is, what are you going to do about it? You can do something about it. You do know that, right? We're going to talk about that here in a little bit and what we must do. The bottom line is this, girls and boys. What's your alternative? What's your other choice? Is it a guy who claimed that his opponent was old and he is just as old, but somehow or another he believes that he can do a better job than the other old guy, when it's clear to me that there is some problems? It's to the point I can't even listen to the guy. I'm not about to sit through a whole speech of him ranting and raving and rumbling and bumbling and stumbling. That's what he does. There were pictures or video from a couple of his speeches a while back where people were getting up and leaving. These were not Democrats. These were Republican loyalists. And they were getting up and leaving in one of his speeches. Nobody cares about electricity and sharks and some of the stupid stuff that you all put on the air. It makes no sense whatsoever. It just doesn't. 855-525-5683 is the number. That's how you get in touch with me if you'd like to join the show. We're going to take our last break. When we come back, it's what we must do.
Hey, beautiful. You look gorgeous. Are you doing something different? There's a healthy glow about you.
Thanks. I'm just my natural self.
Come on. What's your secret?
Okay. Since I found SkinTentional.com, I've been getting a lot of those comments.
SkinTentional.com?
Yes. SkinTentional.com is handcrafted, luxurious natural baths and body care products. Crafted for those with a designer's taste for high-quality skincare products but won't break your bank. From body butter to oils and soaps, Skintentional has something for everyone, including the man in your life. Get your man some beard balm and oils. And yes, they offer body butters and soap for him as well, without making him smell like flowers. Go to skintentional.com and check out their amazing products. They believe self-care should be an intentional and joyous experience for all. Skintentional.com.
Business owner, can I talk to you for a moment? How many people have come up to you and said, hey, I didn't know you had a business? Yeah, that can happen when you don't advertise. I have a solution for you. Advertise on joynetradio.com and let the world know that you're in business. I know what you're thinking. Advertising is so expensive. I've got a great package for you that will cut your expense and increase your bottom line. It's only $125 for startup and new businesses. Call me, David W. Coleman, at 615-554-0568, and I'll put together a package specifically for your business. Now is the time to tell the world, hey, I'm in business. Come spend your money on quality goods in my store. Let us help you at joynetradio.com. Here's the number. Call me, 615-554-0568. We are here to assist you in building your brand.
Coleman's Dynamic Products would like to thank you for all the support you've given us over the years. Our growth could not have happened without your purchases and word of mouth to your friends and family. That says you believe and trust us to provide Coleman's Dynamic Products with no fillers and all natural ingredients. We began with our flagship product, Rib Rub, and now it has expanded into snacks, seasonings, salts, rib juice, and pepper juice. We could not have done it without you. I'm David W. Coleman, founder and president, and I want to personally thank you for the encouraging words and support. Coleman's Dynamic Products will continue to be the best dry marinades, seasonings, and sauces you've ever put in your mouth. That's ribrub.com, RIBBRUBB, and you know what we like to say, bake it, grill it, smoke it, oh yeah. All right, welcome back to the show, Black Focus Radio, our issues, our solutions, our voices. Last segment for the day. A lot of stuff to talk about. We talked a lot about this election. Of course, I want to remind people on next weekend, reach out to Pat Oliver at speakloudly.com, and he can get you posted on some things that are going on around in the Little Rock area. This segment, we always use the last segment of the show to kind of sum up what we've talked about, but also give you, I guess for the lack of a better term, marching orders. Now look, I ain't your leader. I'm not trying to be your leader, but I see things from a different perspective through a different lens than most people. And so that's part of the reason that I do this show, to educate you on some of the things that we need to get done as a black community. There are a lot of aspects of being in the black community. One is shopping at black businesses that we don't do enough of. And if we don't start doing that, then we're going to be priced out of this market altogether. We got to start doing this. The other is you got to go to the polls. You've heard me say over and over again, I don't like either candidate. But here's what I know is true. I like one of them even worse. Now, who could that be? I expect politicians to lie. It's the nature of the business. Who's worse, a football coach or a politician? The irony is that, guess what? If they win, the vice president will be, he's already a politician and he was a former football coach. The one, and I will say this, high school football coaches don't lie as much as college coaches. Let's put it that way. So he was a high school football coach. So I can give him a pass on that. I can give him a pass. But what we got to do is get to the polls. We need to turn out en masse. I am not buying the fact that in some circles Donald Trump has 89% of the black vote. That's a damn lie. And anyone who would espouse that lie has no business being in news. It's easily fact checkable. Okay? So, at the end of the day, what you got to start thinking about. You got to start thinking about this. What's the alternative? And what we got to start doing is getting to the polls and start understanding how to use our vote. And this would be a classic example of doing just that. Because I am hoping that the American people will look at Donald Trump and his ilk and say, we want no more of that. Remember Tiny Tim and what was it? Was it A Christmas Carol? Can I have some more porridge, please, Mom? We don't want no more of this porridge. This porridge is spoiled. It's old. It's nasty. We don't want any more of it. We gonna flush it down the garbage disposal. And you gotta do that by going out to vote. I'm not here to tell you how to vote, but I think it's pretty clear. It's pretty clear. There's nothing that I want from the Republican Party. Nothing. There's nothing that they can do for me. And when I say me, that includes you. So what we must do is get out there and start voting. Take your kids, take your teenagers, if they're 18 years old, get them to the polls. Okay? It's important that you do that. What we must do is just that simple. All right, folks. Again, I want to thank Patrick Oliver. Hope your event goes over well next week. We'll also give you some updates on the Democratic National Convention. We'll start doing some drops here as well, just some quickies. Don't forget to support our sponsors, riprub.com and skintentional.com. And if you would like to drop me an email, blackfocusradio@gmail.com. You can always hit me up on Facebook under Black Focus Radio or my name, David W. Coleman. But you got YouTube and you got Instagram, IG. Hope you all enjoyed the show. We'll be back soon with another great show. Thank you for listening. I love you with all my heart. You've been listening to Black Focus Radio, our issues, our solutions, our voices on joynetradio.com.
You've been listening to Black Focus, where we discuss our issues with our solutions and our voices. Join us every weekday afternoon at 1 p.m. on joynetradio.com.